Overthinkers of Reddit. What unlikely scenario actually came true that you are completely prepared for because you are an overthinker? Injuring my dominant hand. As a kid, I had an irrational fear of having it chopped off. I spent all of grade 6 teaching myself to write and do things with my left hand. I made a conscious effort to remain as ambidextrous as possible. As an adult, I broke a few fingers on my dominant hand, but it wasn't a big issue because I could do most things equally with my left hand. Anticlimactic. But it was useful lol. In college, on occasion, upperclassmen would randomly steal the underclassmen towels from the shower stalls and then lock their room doors, so they had to go to the Robaras. I had the idea to stash a towel in the drop ceiling, tiles for just that event. Maybe a week later, I became the victim of a towel snatching. However, the upperclassmen were very unhappy to see me strut out with a nice clean towel from my ceiling stash. When my wife and I were getting married and looking for a place for ceremony, we have found this beautiful but quite remote garden. We were signing the contract of the event, and I kept thinking that it was quite remote, so I asked, "How much time does it take for the ambulance to get here?" I became the laughingstick of both families. My then future mother-in-law, who was present at the meeting, literally fell down from the chair, laughing. The wedding organizer remembered it for weeks, telling about it everyone we met. My dad ended every sentence with ... but maybe you need an ambulance for that. My wife was making siren noises. I was saying something we disagreed on. Every family dinner, all the aunts and uncles were checking if the ambulance was present. You name it. Packing. Still, I couldn't get rid of this weird feeling. It would have taken over an hour for the ambulance to get to the garden. After a few weeks, I ended up paying a private ambulance to be present at the wedding. Fast forward to the ceremony. As my wife literally walks down the aisle, at the back of the garden I see 2 paramedics running with a stretcher and my dad squeezing my hand, whispering, "That's not of your goddamn business. Let them to take care of it." What happened was that one of our older guests got a heart attack and almost died at ceremony. Was saved by the private ambulance. Ever since then, when my wife tells me that I'm overthinking, I just do the siren noise. I was once driving on the highway behind a car with a couple of cakes strapped to the roof. My anxious brain kept saying, "What if they fall off the car, Final Destination style?" I tried to convince myself that it was an irrational fear, but the anxiety got the better of me and I decided to change lanes and make some distance. About 30 seconds later, 2 kicks. They both slip off the roof and go rolling around the highway. Luckily, no one was hurt. But man, that didn't help my anxiety at all. I carry a fire extinguisher in my auto. I witnessed a car accident where the engine caught fire. I quickly put it out before it burned the inside of the car. Everyone survived. When I was 11, I always kept approximately 12 to 15 of some combination of pens, pencils, and markers in my pant pocket, just like having options, and never knew what I was going to need to write on. Sometimes got some side eye from other kids, though. Cut to at a weekend camp with a bunch of kids. I'm participating in a sort of scavenger hunt race thing. At one point our team hits this task where everyone has to draw or write something don't really remember. But there's only 2 pens, about 10 people per team, and another team just showed up, with 1 pen assigned to each team. It's going slow ... until ... You get a pen. You get a pen. Everybody gets a pen. Our team screams through the task because we can all write simultaneously, while the other team's left plodding along with their 1 pen. We eventually win. Who's weird now? I carry scissors in my glove compartment. They came in handy when a kid tightened a skinny zip tie around my 9-year-old's finger at a part, completely cut off the circulation. Also, the other kid's mum was a nurse, so that was helpful too. Carry scissors and a nurse at all times. Mace. A person I worked with was a registered sex offender, and he had a thing for me. I told him multiple times that he made me feel uncomfortable and to stay away from me. For some reason, I had nightmares about this dude. He was 6.5 feet tall and fucking hideous. Anyways, he said he was going to stop at a store that I stopped at all the time after work, and it was obvious he knew my direction when I left. I pull up to this store and he's already there. Walks up to my car and I just roll down my window and spray this dude, and he dropped a billy club out of his sleeve. Everyone always told me to stop being paranoid and stop thinking he's going to attack me or rape me. That he's been to jail and learned his lesson. Fuck that dude. He should have never been let out of prison. For reference, I'm also a 6-foot tall dude who is always prepared for the worst. I am basically blind without my glasses, and I've always taken a backup pair of glasses when I travel. It went untouched for years, taking up valuable space in my luggage. Lo and behold, one trip to Montreal a few years ago, I just woke up one morning to find my glasses broken. No idea how it happened, and I finally got a chance to break out my backup pair. This was 9 years old. We had driven home and seen the beginning wisps of smoke for the California Cedar Fire in 2003. Naturally, I assumed the worst, and packed up all my clothes and spent about an hour making a travel cage for my guinea pigs. I tied their water bottle to the side so they could drink, packed up their food and their favourite furniture just in case. I then spent the next 2 hours monitoring the fire on the news and out in the distance from our window, periodically asking my parents if we needed to evacuate. At some point in the night, the fire sped up like crazy and was literally on the hillside across the street. I went into my parents' room and said, "The fire's across the street. Are you sure we shouldn't evacuate?" At this point, we all went crazy grabbing important documents and supplies, and as we were about to lock the doors and drive, I realized I forgot my guinea pigs. My parents told me it was too late and I didn't have time to grab them. But when I cried and explained I had them packed up, I was able to grab them and go. The house ended up thanks to a neighbour putting out embers before they took. But we were gone long enough my pigs wouldn't have made. Too long, don't read, helped save my family and pets from a fire, because I was an anxious child.